Hi, how's it going, YouTube? My name is Scrub Ryan, and today I'm going to be discussing the meta in Elden Ring as of patch 1.03. This patch fixed arcane scaling with weapons and made bleed builds pretty powerful, to say the least. This isn't going to be like a traditional YouTuber video where they edit the video down and they have cuts and all that. I'm not much of a YouTuber myself, so this is really just gonna be sort of a ramble style video about the current state of Elden Ring's meta as of 1.03. So basically, patch 1.03 introduced a lot of nerfs and balance changes to the game. Hoarfrost Stomp was nerfed. I'm sure if you read the patch notes, you'll figure it out on your own. They nerfed Hoarfrost Stomp. They nerfed... What was the other one that they nerfed? They nerfed Fire's Deadly Sin. That was more of a glitch, though. They fixed the interaction with Fire's Deadly Sin and the Erdtree Great Shield, as well as the insta-kill glitch with the Eclipse Shotel. So the options for PvP as of this patch and the options for like really strong builds, in my opinion, definitely. I've been trying out. I used to be a mage with intelligence, but I switched over to an arcane build, as you can see here. And I think it's just like absolutely shreds in both PvP and PvE content. So I'm going to go over my stats, builds that I theory crafted after they patched the arcane, powerful weapons that you can use with this build and all that, all that good stuff, and just kind of the current state of the game, like what's strong in both PvE and PvP wise. I'll go over just like some general stuff like talismans, good talismans to use, and a good Wondrous physic mix to use, what you should keep on your hotbar. All that stuff is going to be covered in this video. This is kind of like a secret sauce video. If you found this video, like, I'm completely unknown. I'm just a random guy uploading to YouTube. And if you found this video, then congratulations. You have a guy with probably around 10,000 hours, I would say, of PvP experience across the Souls games. And I'm talking to you right now. And you're going to know exactly like what the absolute strongest stuff is right now currently in Elden Ring. So if you found this video randomly, then congratulations, you're going to be in the know-how after I go through this information with you. You're going to know like what to expect, what to run into if you see other people using my build or similar bleed style builds, and you're going to know how to like deal with them and counter them. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So this is the build at 125. I briefly showed this before. Now, keep in mind, I do have Radagon's Sword Seal on, so if I go to the level up screen, this will be a more clear view of the stats. So here's my level up screen. And to put something together like this, a lot of people are pushing for 150 because of the insane amount of runes that you can get end game, especially with some of the bosses. Millennia, I know Millennia is worth like 480,000 runes by herself. The Fire Giant's like 400k. I think Malekith is like 420,000 or something like that. So it's not unheard of for people to finish the game at or around level 150, even without like rune grinding. Because you just start getting an insane amount of runes at the end of the game. And especially with the HP pool, a lot of the endgame enemies are very, very hard-hitting. Like, even with 50 Vigor, I think, a lot of the normal enemies around this area that I'm in, Haligtree, even with 50 Vigor, a lot of them can like 2 or 3 shot you if you're not careful, especially some of the stronger ones. So yeah, enemies hit ridiculously hard at the end of the game, and I think the reason why people are pushing for 150 is because you really got to hit that soft cap of Vigor at 60, and most of the other stats soft cap at either like 60 or even 80, I believe, is the soft or hard cap for intelligence and faith. So yeah, strength and dexterity I believe are 60, and endurance is like 50 or 60, I don't know the exact numbers, but yeah, a lot of the soft and hard caps are extremely high value, so that's why people are pushing for 150. Now, I myself am a stubborn old piece of shit veteran, so I kind of am just like stuck on 125 right now. I refuse to move past it until I see that there is an active community at 150. I'm just chilling out at 125, doing my own thing for now. If I see that over the next like month or so that I have a lack of invasions, I will increase my level to 150 to see if there's anybody actually that is playing at the new quote unquote 150 meta. But for now, I got away with level 125 for this build. I do not feel the need to change my stats or to level up anymore. I feel like at 125 this build still shreds and it's still just as powerful. I don't think the extra 25 stats are worth it, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think putting an extra 25 stats into this build is going to make it any more optimized than I already have it. So, long story short, I started as Vagabond, 55 Vigor, 17 Mind just as a dump stat, 25 Endurance, that was all I need to wear the armor that I want to use. You could maybe push it a little higher if you want to wear heavier armor. I feel like Endurance isn't as important as in other games. It does affect equip load, and it does affect stamina, but your stamina regens so fast in this game that a lot of people have noticed that you really don't need to push your endurance to like 40 or 50. I'm comfortable with 25 endurance. Strength and dexterity, I left strength at its base value, and I think I pumped 2 points into dexterity to wield a certain weapon. You will see what that is in a second. And then 60 arcane, because they fixed our arcane scaling and it's insane. So for the Wondrous physic, Crimson Bubble Tier is a solid one, just all around. I run this one pretty much all the time. It doesn't work. It's kind of weird how it works. I'm not exactly sure. Where is the V? There we go. It says that it automatically heals your HP the moment before death. So it's kind of like, if you're familiar with Demon Souls Second Chance, it's kind of like that. But it doesn't activate, or it doesn't seem like it activates if you take a lot of damage and die in one hit. I think how it works, to the best of my knowledge, is I believe you have to be below 50% health, and then when you go under 50%, you have to go below like 15 or 10%, and then it'll heal you back up to half HP. I think that's how it works. So if you take a hit, for example, where it's over 50% of your max HP and it kills you instantly, like it does a lot of damage and it kills you outright, I don't think this will go off. But in terms of PvP, I don't think there's really anything better. I know a lot of people like the bubble tier. I don't really like it because smarter players will just throw knives at you or throw fan knives and just pop it immediately. Like, it doesn't affect it at all. It doesn't like improve your survivability. For PvE, like player versus enemy, I prefer the green burst tier because when you're dual wielding, you use a lot of stamina when you're dual wielding, and you'll see here if I run out here and I hit this guy a couple times here, you can see that even these curved swords are really light weapons, and I use a lot of stamina in my attacks, as you can see. And it's even more stamina consumption heavy with the spears that I use with this build. So that's why I like to run the Green Burst Crystal tier because it helps with my stamina regen. It keeps it up in PvE, and it's really useful for boss fights where I'm constantly dodging and I'm constantly attacking with the dual swords. You know, I'm really stamina hungry during boss fights. So this really helps you keep up your momentum when you know the boss's movement and patterns and all that. And it, on top of that, it lasts a good, I think, 2 minutes. It seems like it lasts around 120 seconds, give or take. So just solid option all around. Now for PvP, I don't think there is a better option for PvP currently than the Crimson Whirl bubble tier. This bubble tier is absolutely insane. It makes it so that you take non-physical damage, so magic damage, lightning damage, holy, anything that's not physical, and it converts it into HP. For 15 seconds, you are invincible to any type of damage that is non-physical. This includes weapon arts too. So Sword of Night and Flame, for example, it does the flame attack and the beam. That's magic and fire damage. Doesn't count. Like, if somebody hits you with it while this is up, during those 15 seconds, it will do no damage to you, and it will in fact heal you instead. Annoying Moonveil katana spammers does 0 damage. For 15 seconds, if somebody spams Moonveil katana into you, you take 0 damage from them, and you heal off their Moonveil slashes. This is a super overpowered bubble tier, and I don't see a lot of people running it or realize that it's even in the game at all. You get this in the snow area, in the mountaintop of the giants. I'll show you where to get it really quickly, just in case you want to go grab it yourself. Right here, Giant's Grave Post, go up and around this way. You see right here, there's like a little secret cliff right here. You got to go up and around here, and there's like a little secret cliff. There's a bunch of like the hand enemies, and you grab it from this little secret ledge area right there. That's where you grab that. So if you don't have that and you're an invader, highly recommend getting it. It is absolutely insane. There's so much you can do in 15 seconds of just being invincible to everything that's not physical damage. It really has saved my life more than once in invasions. And of course, there's the Cerulean Hidden tier. Everybody knows about this. You pop this, you shoot Comet Azure, and you just kill half the bosses in the game within 10 seconds. Another insane crystal tier to have in your mix. So let's go over some weapons that I use with this build. First off, I've got the Scavenger's Occult Curved Swords. So these curved swords, as far as I know, these are the only curved swords in the game with bleed innate on them. I looked on the wiki and I didn't see any other curved swords in the game with bleed already on them. So these are perfect for this build. Any weapon that you find that has bleed innate on it is good for this build. Anything that you can find, like, it doesn't matter if it's a curved sword, a curved greatsword, you know, a greatsword, a straight sword. It doesn't really matter what you use, as long as it has bleed on it and you can infuse it with occult. It's gonna shred with this build. I use the curved swords because the dual curved sword moveset is really fast, hits a lot of times, and has an absolutely insane jumping attack that you can see right here. The jumping L1 hits 4 times and does massive damage. Like, if I come out here, you can see, like, it's hard to kind of land on this mob because she's kind of a little bit too small. But for larger enemies, it just absolutely shreds them. I promise you that. Bosses in particular fall to this attack a lot. Any giant-sized enemies where it hits, you can also delay it a little bit if you want to use it in PvP. You can delay it till, like, you get closer to the ground, like that. Like, even there, I hit the ground and it still went off. So yeah, Really, really nice quadruple hit spammable attack. And of course the normal moveset is really good. The running L1 hits 4 times, also a really good attack. And yeah, just all around absolutely brutal. Destroys everything. Great curve swords. I have Bloodhound Step, of course. Everybody knows Bloodhound Step. Everybody knows how broken this shit is. Because you're dual wielding, you don't have a lot of defensive options. Bloodhound Step just completely negates the lack of any shield. You can just Bloodhound Step everywhere. You have full iframes for this entire animation. It's absolutely insane. All like meta level invaders know how broken Bloodhound Step is. If you don't have Bloodhound Step, you're already at a disadvantage in PvP. If you don't have a weapon swap, like, it doesn't matter what it is. If you don't have like a dagger in your inventory with Bloodhound Step on it, if you can't swap to a weapon with Bloodhound Step, you are already at a disadvantage in PvP. That's how broken this weapon art is. It's just absolutely insane. Quick Step was already super powerful in Dark Souls 3, and this is just even better Quick Step. So yeah, anticipating a nerf in the future. It didn't get nerfed this patch. I guess we'll see what the future has for this. Somebody had a really good idea how to balance it to make it drain your HP, because it's actually called, you know, Bloodhound Step, and Bloody Slash already drains your HP. In fact, they nerfed Bloody Slash this patch too. It drains like 4 times your health compared to what it used to. Like, you can see if you try to use it. Do I have something with Bloody Slash on it so I can demonstrate? Maybe? No, here. Let me put it on a straight sword. You can see, you'll see how absolutely terrible it is now. I mean, it's still strong, but the amount of HP that it drains is insane. If I do it, let's just get rid of my lightning and put Bloody Slash on. Nope, not blood. Occult. Occult scaling, if anything. Like, you can see right here, look at my health pool. Look at how much HP that drained. That drained just under 200 hit points. That drained around 160 health per slash. So, like, look at it. If I spam it, it's a little bit slower, too, I can tell. And just look at, like, after 5 bloody slashes, look at my HP. That is absolutely ridiculous. Now, it still hurts, like, to be fair, it still hurts enemies. Like, this guy right here. You know, 1,600 damage, that's nothing to snuff at, especially with 60 arcane in one hit, but you are going to pay the price for that damage now. It's no longer just, oh, I just spam Bloody Slash and I win the game. No, no, no. You actually have to pay attention to your HP pool now. And that's kind of why I moved over to something like these two, is because of, like, the cost of, like, Bloody Slash. It's just not worth it anymore. I'd rather have Bloodhound Step and Seppuku on my dual scavenger occult curve swords than have to deal with Bloody Slash penalty. So, how this build actually works is these 4 talismans right here. First off, you have Radagon's Soar Seal. Absolutely insane talisman. It's a free 20 levels. It boosts Vigor, Endurance, Strength, and Dexterity by 5. You pick this up at Fort Ferrith on the map. Right here. Where are you, Salid? There you are, right there. This is where you get it. It's hidden behind some rats, I believe. And it increases the damage you take, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter. I don't give 2 shits about taking more damage. This is Prisoner's Chain on crack cocaine. 20 levels for free is insane. And basically I'm soul level 145 right now. Like, just think about that. I'm 125. I'm basically, with this talisman on, I'm basically soul level 145. That's really insane. This hits 3 of the stats that I want to. Vigor, Endurance, and Dexterity are all stats that I need for this build to work. I don't really need Strength, but Strength is still nice to have. It's still nice to have that 19 Strength, just in case you want to wield some other weapons. But I needed to hit that 20 Dexterity, and you'll see why after I show off the next weapon. So yeah, absolutely insane Talisman. And if you're wondering if the damage like penalty is worth it, 100%. This even raises your flat defense too. So like if I take this off, look at my flat defenses. You see how it says 131 flat defense? If I put this on, it goes to 137. You see that difference, right? Now, I lose like 10% in each category, but in exchange, because it's increasing my stats, I gain flat defense. And flat defense, honestly, is, I think, more important in a lot of situations compared to percentage defense. So the damage penalty may not be as much as you think. And I tested it on some hollows at the start of the game. I think I took like 5 more damage or something. Like, it really is negligible. Do not stack this, though. Like, do not do this. Do not stack it with Marika Sword Seal. They stack multiplicatively, not additive. They multiply, which makes it not worth it to wear both of them at the same time. Definitely not worth it. This, you will get hurt if you do something like this, so don't do that. But just one is fine. Next up, Erdtree's Favor +2. This is self-explanatory. It's the FAP ring. Greatly raises your max HP, stamina, and equipment load. All good things to have. It's found at the end of the game. Spoiler alert: when the Erdtree burns down in the Ashen Capital. Yeah, it's just the FAP ring. Crimson Amber Medallion +2. More max HP. You can see where I'm going with this. I don't like to die. If you couldn't tell by my absolutely massive HP bar, I do not like to die in this game. I hate it. Max HP is always important for PvP. The more max HP you have, the better, in my opinion. Especially players have insane damage. You cannot like take other people lightly in this game. Even like goof around builds. I've seen goof around builds still do 1,000 damage, like in a couple hits. Players do an insane amount of damage, and the only way you're gonna counter players doing an insane amount of damage is to have an insane amount of HP. So that is why I'm using these 3 talismans. I'm just stacking out my HP as high as humanly possible so that I don't get 1 or 2 shot by other players in the game. Now, your 4th talisman slot. I like Lord of Blood here. There's a lot you can run. You could run, like, Millicent's Prothesis, you know, boost dexterity, raises attack power with successive attacks. You attack a lot with curved swords. Rotten Wing Sword works too. I like Lord of Bloods because of Seppuku. It's synergized as well, so you have the classic, you know, you put your Seppuku curved sword, stab yourself, get blood loss, and then it procs the effect of this talisman, and then you do even more damage. If I come out here, you can see like I do an insane amount of damage, and I bleed more often too because of Seppuku. And you can see I just shred normal mobs. Like, normal mobs don't even stand a chance against this build. You just bleed them. You just do so much damage, it's insane. And if you think this doesn't work in PvP, oh no. I have a bone to pick with you. No, this shreds in PvP too. No, this absolutely will kill people in PvP. You will insta-bleed people in just one combo in PvP. I guarantee it. So yeah, Lord of Blood. If you want to go absolutely balls to the wall, full DPS, like I don't give a shit mode, then you can do Millicent's and Rotten Wing Sword. This is max DPS. So Lord of Blood, Millicent's Prothesis, and Rotten Wing Sword Insignia. This will get you your absolute maximum DPS. If I go do some more testing on the mobs, you'll see Like, it's absolutely insane how much damage. I didn't reload these guys. I'll go a little bit further. It's okay. Yeah, but I think it's a bit overkill. I think it really does not make a difference. I think Lord of Blood is enough. Like, you can see my... Where's my attack power? Yeah, see, it even went away, but you see my R armament 1 and L armament are at 601 and 637 respectively. I think this is just overkill. Like, if you want to absolutely destroy bosses, sure, go for it, but in my opinion, you really don't need to do this. This is just overkill. I would rather have the HP than go full DPS. I'd rather have the survivability. So, I showed you the Scavenger's Curve Sword. Now let's talk about some other weapons that I have backup plan. I call these my backup plan. So, the Misericord, or however you say it, it's infused with lightning, it's infused with thunderbolt. This is a good weapon art. It's really useful for finishing off people that are low HP. Sometimes you'll run into tryhards that have a lot of HP, just like you do, and they'll have like 1,800 to 2,000 HP. One bleed won't kill these guys. And sometimes, you know, you'll be in a situation where you're not able to finish them off with your bleed weapons. This solves that problem. So if you target somebody who's really low HP with this, 9 times out of 10 they won't see it coming. They'll just die. It goes off really fast, it has good range, and it's really hard to dodge. And it's really spammable too. That's the thing. This does like 400 or 500 damage, and it doesn't go off the AR of the weapon. It doesn't go off the weapon's attack power. It just goes off the plus. Like, you'd be surprised how many Ashes of War, they don't even scale off of the weapon's damage. They just scale off of how high of a plus the weapon is. Like, I know Thunderbolt and Hoarfrost Stomp, and I think even Bloody Slash, they don't scale off the weapon's attack. They just scale off of how high have you upgraded the weapon. You know what I'm saying? They don't even scale off of the AR. So yeah, it doesn't really matter what you use Lightning Bolt on. I have it on a dagger because, as you can see in my other hand, in my pocket, I have a buckler. Because, you know, if you're going to go for a YOLO parry, then why not have the strongest dagger in the game with a critical of 140 in your other hand. This will also one-shot people in PvP, by the way. Like, this, combined with the dagger, it does like 1900 damage, like 1950. I tested it on a friend of mine. It's almost almost nobody has that HP. It's almost a one-shot. This is basically the Chaos Dagger 2.0. So yeah. If all else fails, or if you've got somebody else that's trying to abuse Bloodhound Step against you, like maybe you've got a physical attacker that has Bloodhound Step and they're being really annoying, you can pull out the buckler, and after they Bloodhound Step into you, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna swing, throw out a parry. You never know. You might get it, and you might one-shot them. Yeah, so this is basically my anti-Bloodhound Step tool. Pretty much. Like, if somebody's being annoying in PvP and they're also using Bloodhound Step and they're playing really passively, I just pull these out and just sit there and wait for them to Bloodhound Step into me, and for them to swing their weapon, I'll throw out a parry. Most of the time, I'll get it. So, let's go over the other weapons you can use with this build. Like I said, anything occult infused and has innate bleed on it, those are the two things you're looking for. You can, of course, let's not beat around the bush here. You can use Rivers of Blood with this build. Yes, Rivers of Blood is really good. It's really busted. If you're going to use Rivers of Blood, take off Lord of Bloods and instead use the Shard of Alexander. This right here is one of the best talismans in the game, in my opinion. This boosts the weapon arts of every weapon in the game by 15%. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but 15% at endgame when your weapon arts are doing, 1,000 damage of hit, that's a free 150 damage every time you hit. That's nothing to snuff at, really. So, of course, it also affects Rivers of Blood's weapon art, Corpse Piler. I keep calling it weapon arts. They're called Ashes of War, but, just the Dark Souls 3 part of me talking. So, yeah. And as you can see, it of course shreds. I don't really have the FP to use this properly. I really had to sacrifice my mind stat. So most of the time, I don't use this in PvP just because, like, look at my my blue bar, my FP bar. Using the full weapon art takes like almost half of it just after 2. So most of the time I don't prefer using this because it just drains my blue bar too fast. You can, of course, use it. It still hits like a truck. Again, if you're going to use Rivers of Blood, use Shard of Alexander to boost Corpse Piler by another 15% so that you shred even harder. All around, just a decent weapon. Really good katana. Does fire damage for some unknown reason. I don't know why it does fire damage. Even without Corpse Piler, I still think it hits pretty good. Even without Corpse Piler. Like, if I go test it on these mobs right here. Yeah, it still hits. It still hits pretty decently, even without Corpse Piler. But of course, if you're playing Rivers of Blood, you want to spam Corpse Piler. It's the only thing you want to do. It hits like a truck. Now, the last weapons I'm gonna show off for today, personally, are the Cross-nagitanas. These things are insane. So, when I was theory crafting this build, you may have already seen this. I actually saw somebody doing this. I just randomly ran into them in PvP. I was like, oh hey, he figured it out too, right? So the dual Cross-nagitanas. If you don't know what a Cross-nagitana is, Cross-naginata, sorry. Not Nagitana. Cross-naginata. If you don't know what a Cross-naginata is, it is a spear and it has bleed on it. And why is that important? Well, because you can infuse it with occult and make it do even more blood loss. And also, its physical AR, as you can see, is insane. 263 plus 302 on a spear. That's insane. And the dual spear moveset is just really nice pokes. You got 3 nice pokes. The running L1 is such a good roll catcher. You got people panic rolling away from you in PvP. Throw this out, 9 times out of 10 it'll hit. Especially if you get good at timing your roll catches, it'll hit. This outspaces a lot of weapons in PvP. There's not a lot of weapons that can deal with this, just because it doesn't look that far, but it really does hit. Like, if somebody's using a katana or like a curved sword or a long sword, you can just kind of outspace your opponents if you want to play the spacing game. And these are my go-to weapon in PvP as of right now. Just because of the range. I prefer them over the curved swords for the purposes of invading. Just because of their insane range. They have a good L1 out of Bloodhound step. It's not super great. It's not as good as the running L1. This is a lot better. But they still have a decent L1 out of Bloodhound step. Like, you can still kind of mess with people with this. Right? And where is Lord of Blood? Where are you at? There it is. And of course I have seppuku on my offhand, just because I can do this. It's literally the exact same thing as the curved swords, except with 2 spears. That's it. And I prefer the 2 spears because, like I said, you know, running R1 or L1 rather. Very nice roll catcher. Still destroys, as you can see. It still obliterates everything. Don't have to get close to your enemies. You can stab from really far away. Now it is a little bit more stamina heavy than the curved swords. Like, even more so. Here, if I aggro these guys, you'll see. Look at my stamp. Come on. Hey, game. Can I please be in combat? There. Like, look at my stamina bar. You see that? Look at that. That's just one L1. Look at all three L1s will completely drain my stamina bar, actually, you can see. So yeah, they are a little bit more stamina heavy than the curved swords. But I think the trade-off for like the range and the damage, these actually do hit harder than the curved swords. They have 263 plus 302. The scavengers have 225 plus 272, so they do hit a little bit harder on the physical side too. I think the trade-off is worth it. I think the extra stamina cost is well worth having a moveset like this. These things are insane. So yeah, that just about wraps up my time here. Is there anything else I want to go over before I end the video? My spell that I have on is Rejection. So, Rejection is there for anti-gravity abuse. Like, I've ran into gankers in this area. I ran into some gankers yesterday that were, like, abusing the elevator over there. And Rejection is there because it's this game's version of Force, and of course, in every single Souls game, people are gonna find ways to force you off ledges. So that is why I have Rejection on. It's just something that I can pull out of my ass when I have to. Like, as you can see, like, just how do I wait? Oh, there we go. I just can't. Yeah, Rejection is just something that I can pull out of my ass when I need to. Just in case I have to kill people with gravity, just in case, you know, I run into like some sort of super gank squad and I want to kind of trick them, you know. Rejection is always like a nice troll tool to pull out of my ass. I can knock people off the ledges and kill them with gravity. I'm sure if you played Dark Souls 3 to any extent in Pontiff Sullivan's area, I'm sure you have been forced off of a ledge and killed with gravity at least once in your life, if you know what I'm talking about. That is why Rejection is there. Just something. It's just another tool in my arsenal to have, just in case I need it. Oh yeah, my quick bar. Obviously, I duplicated all this stuff. You know, no surprise. I'm a hardcore PvPer. Of course, I'm gonna have every advantage. Fan daggers are for breaking people using bubble. That's all they're there for. I can throw these. If somebody uses the bubble, I run into it all the time in duels and PvP. If somebody drinks the flask and uses the bubble, I just use these. Throw these, it pops the bubble, it makes it useless. That's what the fan daggers are for. And of course, the boluses. Blood loss, obviously. Madness, very useful to alleviate madness. And of course, Scarlet Rot. These three are the most common status effects used by other players. I occasionally run into poison. I don't run into poison enough to where I feel like I need the neutralizing boluses on my hotbar. I have enough stuff to switch between. These three, however, I would recommend running. You know, blood loss is self-explanatory. A lot of people using Rivers of Blood. A lot of people using arcane builds with blood loss. I would keep these on your hotbar. They're gonna save your life. Madness, not as common as blood loss, but still annoying. Definitely keep these on your bar. If somebody's playing, with Vike's War Spear, make sure you don't get caught in madness, because if madness procs, you're dead. 9 times out of 10. It's like a 5-second long animation, and if it happens, you are more than likely dead. So yeah, watch your madness build up, heal it. And Scarlet Rot build up, the Dragon Breath. The Scarlet Rot Dragon Breath is one of the most used incantations in the game that I see being used by other people. Keep these on you just so you can heal it. That's all. Alright, so I think that just about wraps it up. Good luck out there invading. I hope you guys cause a lot of pain. If you watch this video all the way through, thank you so much for sticking around and listening to my wisdom. I hope you learned something today. If you see somebody running at you with this build, with like the dual Cross-nagitanas, just know that this build is extremely dangerous. It's very hard hitting. If you see anybody running at you with these, you are in danger. You are definitely in danger. Try to outplay them any way possible. Try to play around your strengths. I know I was gonna give you hard tips for countering this build, but I'm not gonna lie to you. Honestly, I don't think there is a counter, really, other than just outplaying them. Just play better than them. Like, have Bloodhound Step. That's your number one priority. If you're gonna PvP, have a Bloodhound Step weapon that you can swap to at any given time. I went over that. I don't think there was anything else. Yep. Oh, and of course, armor. Yeah, wear whatever you want. If you want to wear, super tryhard armor, the Tree Sentinel set, weight-wise, weight to defense-wise, I calculated out a couple of armors. I haven't done them all, but I think weight to defense-wise, the Tree Sentinel armor is one of the top heavy armors in the game for its weight. It weighs 18.9, and the physical and magic, if I put it on, you'll see, let's go to, where is it? Let's go to the Bull Goat armor. Look, 18.7 versus 20.4. It still loses in slash. Look, it still has 3 red numbers. The Omen armor, look at the Omen armor. 23.1 weight. And it loses, the Omen armor loses, it's just extra weight for no reason. It has some resistances, but who cares about resistances? Yeah, Tree Sentinel armor, really, really solid set. Radahn's, it has a little bit more weight than Radahn's, and still better in a couple categories. Yeah, full Tree Sentinel armor if you want to go super sweaty tryhard, and you want to have the most defense possible. As for me, I love the Knight's Cavalry armor, plus the Confessor hood. I look like a badass. I don't really care too much. And honestly, the defense of Knight's Cavalry isn't too bad, and it weighs only 12 units, so pretty light for the armor class that it's in. Yeah. Alright, I think that does it. Good luck out there, Tarnished. I wish you luck in your endeavors. That's all I have for you today. Peace out.